Alrighty. So it looks like the audio is working. My voice is breaking. Let's see how that goes. So today we're going to continue making some modular racetrack parts that we can sort of put together in Unity to create a track in Mona. We have Fractilians and Rizzle making some cars and stuff. So with our powers combined, we can make some pretty cool stuff. So let's jump into that and see where we're at. Cool, that's working. And I'm working, so that's excellent. Now, since the last thing, I made some updates to the texture. Not so difficult. It's all red. Like I'm targeting sort of a low polygon or low style. So in that, I'm not going crazy with too much detail. But I'm going to see how far I can take this texture. Now, I kind of wanted, or would like eventually, maybe not yet, but I kind of want the colors to be a little more unified or cool. So basically I might look at that, but that said, like, we've definitely got enough to work with here. These colors are just colors and I can update them as we need to. I've got these over here to sort of I'm thinking of seeing if I can make a timer through animation, and this will look really good with just like a polygon here and there. We've got some signs we could do here. Potentially, I could make a bigger one and make more signs, but I think this will be good for now. We've got the side of the track. We've got the checker thing. We can put that on a flag. We can put that on the start point. We've got some lights that I might try and animate. Although that's getting a little tricky, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so this is a good start to our material that we'll be modifying or editing in Blender. So I apologize if I start saying a lot more. I'm a little short of sleep. Um, so we'll see how that goes. So let's see. Now, today I will be sort of spending most of my time in Blender. I'll have to remap some of these. And the next workshop, so Monday's workshop, I think today's Friday. Monday's workshop, I'm going to be taking whatever I make today and maybe over the weekend, because I have a feeling this is going to be kind of fun thinking about what I can do with this stuff. And then sort of put it all in Unity. And then I'm going to make a library asset and see if I can get that on the library. And then if people want, they can actually download the asset and we can all make racetracks. Which I think will be super cool. And then if each person makes a potentially a portal, we could actually link between them all and have sort of like a proper race season, which I think will just be really interesting. But anyway, so let's get down to it now. So far, what do I have? So I have a car just as a base for size. I do actually want to make a car at some point, just so I can get in the ring with Fractilians and Rizzle, or a motorbike. I think that'll be actually really cool as well. But today we're going to be focusing on sort of parts of track. So at the last one, I actually had less polygons in here. So I've actually added 1, 2, 3, 4 to make this more curved, because that just looks better. And then we've sort of got like a straight, so the finish line, which is there. What does that look like? So that's interesting. Now the thing is, previously I thought of using polygons for that, but now because I've changed the texture, I can actually make that a bit simpler. So I can actually get rid of a lot of these, which I will do. So for that, I'm going to press delete, dissolve edges, and then it sort of doesn't look great. So let's do it manually. So let's go merge vertices at last. There we go. Now I'm not too worried about the... we need that as well. Okay, let's do this then. At last. On the second one, I'm just going to go Shift R, and that will redo whatever I did last. So that saves a bit of time on that sort of method, I guess you could say. And we can also sort of move all of these the same. This is one of the benefits of Blender over, say, Max, unless Max has changed how they do it. But yeah, the repeat action, however you want to call it, I guess, is quite cool. I feel. All right, so what I'm going to do is just press K to use a knife. Put that there, and then press space to sort of close that off. And then we can sort of close that one off as well. I'm going to delete that one. No, I'm not, because it doesn't like that. What I am going to do, though, is this. So we're going to go S, X, no, Y. And notice how when you press X and Y, the line changes. So that is the axes that it is changing. So I'm going to do that and then press 0, and that will align all of these. So once again, scale X, nope, scale Y, SY, 0. And that'll do that, which is pretty cool. And just because I want to keep things a bit cleaner, I'm going to sort of close that, and then we can get rid of that one. That's all good. So we've reduced, like, and it's a smaller number. Like it doesn't really matter, but this shows an example of how by changing this one thing, we can therefore. So let's do this. I'm just going to grab them all. Go UV, smart UV project. Go OK. Then we have all that. And move it over there so I can see it better. And then we want that one. G to move it down here. And then I can sort of move it to fit where I want it. Now in 2D mode or UV mode, you don't use X, Y, Z. You just use X and Y. So Y will go up and down, X will go this way. Again, G, Y, that will go down. Then you put it exactly where you want it. And that looks good. It looks a little stretched, but that's okay. The other option, I think, hang on. Yeah, so we just have to do that. And let's see what happens if we go this way. Yeah, no, as good as it is. That works. And then we want this one. Now this one, we just want to be road. So I'm going to go Z, sorry, S scale, and then 0. And then I can move it wherever I want it to be the whole color. So for this, let's put it down here because we want that to be all the same color for all the roads. So once again, scale, Z, and then G, and then just move it over here. Fine. There we have our road. Now on this, we sort of have fence. Now, what we want to do is I kind of want to make a little bit of color for these. Now for this, and this is why I used gradients, because then at height I can change a little bit of color just using scale. Then we can kind of put it wherever we want into whatever color we want. So for the start, let's go red, like so. Now, I believe this is the wrong way up, so you can sort of notice it's a little bit darker going up. So we actually want that to be the other way around. So, like so. And there it goes lighter. So yeah, simple changes, awesome results. So that's going to go that way. And same again, SX to go that way. SY to sort of go that way. And we can scale it to be there. And we have that. Now, in game design, one thing to note is that if we put this into Unity, you would see this side, and this side. One thing you can do up here is if you put, where is it? I always lose it. Face orientation. Blue is what you'll see, and red would be invisible in Unity, which we don't want, because the characters will be higher than this, so if they ever get over this side, then they'll be able to see, and we don't want that. So if you're finding that some of your assets are see-through when they shouldn't be, check out face orientation on this pull down here, and then you can see what's going on. So that's super useful. So what we're going to do to change this is we're going to press E to extrude, X to extrude a little bit, and then we're going to go E to extrude down. And because I can move it around, I don't want to do that. I just want to extrude on the Z axis, which is down and up. There. I want to do the same here as well. So E, Z, down there. And there we go. So we have a road with our fence. And that's how the start looks at every time. Now the question is, do we want sort of the cuts? I think we kind of do, because that looks cool. So there's a couple of approaches. One approach is I'm going to knife some of these. So that's the midpoint. So let's sort of just cut these like sort of that. Not being too careful, because I can fix it this way. So once again, S, X, nope, Y, 0. Get those ones, S, Y, 0. Just to make sure, S, Y, 0. Same again with these, but S, X, 0. S, X, 0. 0. Now, you may get annoyed by me repeating these, but this is one way you're going to learn all the hotkeys real quick. GX. Across to there, because that looks good, and GX. That's good there. All right. Now, what we need to do with that now that we've cut it, is grab this, find out where it is, which is there, and then move it somewhere else. Let's say there. Okay, done. Now, the question is, how do we want these? So I'm going to select that polygon, and then go Shift D, and let's put it like 2. Let's go, 3. Yeah, let's put it 3. Move this one up to there. Well, no, maybe there. I think that's good. There. Cool. Now I'm using left control to snap these. So Shift D to duplicate, control and drag to sort of snap it. How many cars do we want to race? Maybe 10? I think 10's good. Shift D, control snap 3, and there we go. Now, as you can see, even in here, and this gets usually pretty pronounced in Unity, is you have 2 polygons doing that, which is called Z fighting. So on the depth of wherever they are, they're sort of fighting for that space. Now, we don't want that. So there's 2 approaches. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna get rid of this one. Faces. And I'm gonna connect all of these last, and then put this one over there at last. So that's done. And then I'm gonna grab this one, Shift D, Control, snap, like so. And then I'm going to grab all of these and I'm going to move them up slightly. E, Z. So. Now, if you look at the top, you can sort of see the height of it. So once again, if I G, that's all at 0. And if I tap it up, move it ever so slightly. You want that to be pretty small. So I think... Now, the thing is, in a game engine, the further out you get, it might start Z-fighting again. So that's why I put it a little bit higher. So you'll never get close enough to see that distance. Maybe. But and we can adjust it if need be. So we'll have to test it. But I think that's good. So there we go. I do feel that I should move this a little bit forward. So let's do that. Again, G, X, no, G, Y, snap, snap, snap. Yeah, it's good. Done. Now another thing we can do, because that grid sort of does bother me, so I'm going to move this one up a bit. There. And I want to make that as accurate to the grid because I feel I should. That looks much better. All right, we have a finished start. Now, note that the underneath doesn't have, like, that's going to be see-through. That's fine. We'll never see the bottom unless we want to put this on a bridge, and I'll worry about that another day. So there's that. Um, Alrighty. So, moving on, we need some road. That's what we need. That's the finish line. We've got some stools. I'll have to check the UV mapping on those. And this needs to be in the center. Now, the reason it has to be in the center is because when you import it into Unity, in many cases, it will take in consideration the location of the pivot. Like, where is it? So here it's a little bit too high, so I'm going to move that down to there. Try and line it up there as well, so that's good. And then once again, Control A, all transforms, so it sort of centers that, which is what we want. Now, as you can see, because I changed the material, we need to sort of change. Like, I still like the blue, that looks good, but I'm going to change these. Yep. So notice originally I put them on that because that was flat. So we need to put this on just well, actually, what I want to do is get a bit of a color or shade in there. So for that, what I can do, if I make sure they're all selected from the side, go to UV, project from view. Then we have that. And then we can sort of do the scale thing again. And then let's put it a dark color here. With some depth to it. And then we have that shade there, which is great. Now, potentially, this is only 4 polygons. The thing is, this is going to be on the ground all the time, so I could get rid of those, but maybe I want to have some tipped over or something. So there's that. And notice how in this one, this polygon goes all the way across. Like, I don't have this one cut in because that would create more polygons on that. So a lot of the polygon approach does come down to the least amount of polygons, because generally speaking, unless the culling is much smarter than I think it is, and I'm sure it'll get there with AI as it's going lately, then yeah, it will render all of the polygons regardless of if the camera sees it or not. And that's why in many cases, if you don't ever see the polygon, like you don't, then you would delete it. So keep that in mind. Now, because I changed this, the blue one, I'm just going to duplicate that one. D. Change this to red. Go L, no, Control L, yeah. Sometimes L, I'm not sure what the difference is between the two. So Control L and L, they both do something. Now in this case, this is where sort of the choices get interesting, because we don't really want the gradient to go that way. We kind of actually want it to go that way, but we want these colors to be split because I think that's more interesting. So what I'm going to do instead is the following. So I'm going to go scale y 0. So that flattens it. So we have that color that way. This doesn't have a gradient, but that's fine. It's too small. So it's all very neat and tidy to do it that way. That said, we need this to be red, because I said red, which is kind of, well, no, let's do a pink. Much more interesting. Purple. There we go. We have to do the same with this. Oops, that one. Control L. Scale Y 0. Done. There we have it. Do we want some other colors? Yeah, I think we want a yellow one as well. So let's duplicate red. Shift D. Hide that one. I highly recommend just getting into the habit of naming everything as you go. Future you will love you for it. Now, do we want those to be a bit thinner? I think we do. So let's not duplicate. Let's grab all of those. Press tab, go into edit mode, and then just scale these a little bit. That way. Better. Okay, so we have our seats done. Finish line is done. Corner needs some work. So, well, let's start with straight, actually. This one. Once again, we need these ones. Well, actually, let's extend these. Now, the catch with this, however, is it might not line up with the corners and other things. So I might have to figure out exactly how I'm going to do that. But for now, let's just do it quickly. Cause again, E, Z for down. That's good. And as you can see, the gradient is going that way. So let's do this one. I'm going to grab the top and go Control Numpad plus. And that'll be +1 in all directions to what is selected. So that's super useful for things exactly like that. Once again, project from view. Let's make this one a blue one. Scale X, scale Y, and G. I think that one's going to be better. Gradient goes up, which is what we want. And this one, once again, scale S0, and then that one goes down to here. So we're the same. Cool. The last one we need to sort of clean up before lining up. This one's going to be interesting because these are curved. So we'll have a look at that, I guess. Now, once again, Alt. Let's go to line work, or press 2. 1, 2, 3, 2. Hold down Alt and left click, and that will select the edge loop. Now, the problem is this whole thing has an edge loop, which is fine because there's an easy one to do for this. So you can go left click, hold Control, and then click where you want to go, and it will sort of select all of the points between those 2 points. So say, for example, I wanted that, and it will take the shortest route between those 2 points. Now, this also works with vertices and even polygons, actually. So that's super useful for sort of quickly selecting things, and also why edge loops are super useful. So how can we do this? Let's go top view. I'm just going to go E. And then right mouse click. So it extrudes, but doesn't go anywhere. And then I'm going to press S to scale it down a bit, just a bit. And then I'm going to press G to sort of get that element there. And then we can just go E, Z. Quick once again. Now this one, let's do the same thing, see how it goes. So E, right mouse click, S, scale, a bit bigger, G, there. Now what we could do, and I'm going to do that because I just thought of this, is use that distance to connect to. Now the problem there is this is not going to be very accurate, but that's fine because this is only going to be a fence ever. So I can just grab this one, move that down a bit, then it's kind of done. I can kind of try and clean those up a little bit, but not important, to be honest. Sometimes imperfection make things look more realistic, is the excuse that allows me to sleep every night. Most nights. All right. And once again, straight down. E, Z, done. Now, there is this. So if I did -1, that'll be -1 from that location, which is kind of what we want. So that's good. Excellent. Now, once again, we need this to be sort of radiated. So same again, project from view. So we have that. This doesn't matter because it just doesn't. So I'm just going to scale that down that direction. Move it up. And then scale it Y direction. Yeah. And same with this. Top view. Doesn't really matter because we're going to do scale to 0. And move that over here. Okay. All right, so we have all of our things, all of our roads. Now notice with these ones, I haven't named them very well. It's fine, not an issue. But when I want to organize my space in Unity, it's good to try and keep the things together that should be. So, for example, I want all of these to be together as roads. So I'm going to put road in front of all of these. That way, all the stools will be together, all the roads will be together, which is kind of what we want to do. So that's great. I do recommend getting into the habit of adding ones and twos and things like that because you'll probably commonly make a lot more than one. So it's good to be able to do that. So you can sort of track which one's which. So that's super useful as well. Um, so that's kind of like a label. And then in Unity, it uses sort of like bracket, number, bracket for countable items. So you would have sort of road, corner, short, 0, 1, bracket 2, bracket 3, bracket. Um, so sort of understanding the name conventions that get used quite a bit, quite a useful thing. All right, so we have kind of what we're trying to go here. Now, with these ones, we can actually line these up a little bit easier, which is what we want to do. And this one is also way too high. So let's fix some of these. So you can see there's a bit of a difference there. So I'm just gonna scale x 0 so they line up properly. Then with these ones over here, scale x 0, x 0. So that means it's lined up. You can also see sort of like how high those, and in this case, they are a bit too high. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get these ones, make that all 0 equal. So 0 equals 0, that's the one. So S, Z, 0, so that all lines up. Yeah. And then I'm going to get these white elements that I've added and move them down just a bit. G, Z to sort of about there, I think. That's clearly above, which is what we want. Now, the last thing we need to do is make sure that this gate is basically equal to this gate. Now, ideally, we want all of these to be like aligned because in Unity, you can actually snap polygons, not polygons, you can snap objects based on their vertex position. So I can snap the corner of one object to another and it lines perfectly. So the objects need to be perfect. um, so I've kind of done this the not the best way. But what I'm going to do is improve them so that they are better. So I should use the baseline here to make sure everything is as perfect as possible. Make sure it goes the right way. Now in this case, I want to snap sort of that one to that one, and then we want to adjust everything accordingly. So for that one, we need to go snap by vertex. Closest is fine. Put snap on. So when I sort of press G at whichever vertex I'm closest to, that's that. Let's see what this does anyway. Okay, let's see if this does anything. Okay, so it's closer. Getting there. How do I? Local? Let's try that one. Nope. Active. Let's try that one. Nope. Closest. Let's try edge. That doesn't work as well as I would like. But you see the point. Okay, so let's try something else, I guess. Edge center. Well, nope. Right there. This is, I will admit, much easier in what do you call it? In Unity. So what I'm going to do then, so I'm going to sort of snap that to that because that's what that is, and then just move it. So I'm going to turn that off. Press G, X, and sort of do that. Yeah. Um, Now, do we want it that thick? Now, the other thing I was thinking of, actually, is one thing in game dev or game engines, to be honest, is every time you want an asset to be repeated, there is a reasonable chance that that is better if you just create it once and then use that one thing a lot. So, say for example, we have this asset here. So we have the road, we have the fence, and we have the inner fence. Now, what I might want to do, and I'm thinking of doing this anyway, is actually break up the road and break up the fences, so then I can start making some more interesting racetrack elements. So I could have like the grass on the edge and not a fence, so you can sort of smash out of that, or those sort of things. So that will fix two problems on the fact that matching this up is quite difficult in its current state. So I'm going to break them up. But also, we might have a few more assets that we can sort of do cool stuff with. So for that, I'm just going to select the things that I want to do and go separate selection. So that's good. Um, and yeah, just in case I want to break these up as well. So we can do that. Now with that one, I'm going to set origin to geometry. So there, which means hopefully, very hopefully, no, why? Not that one. To everything else it's matching. Okay. Fine then. Um okay. So I'm gonna okay. Nope. Now in this case I kinda wanna actually make this so that the curved part is thicker than the edge part, because one, I get a feeling that might actually be how they do it. Press period on the numpad to focus on. See, look how much easier that is. And then it sort of goes out a bit, and we'll have to match this as well, actually. But that's fine. So that's good. And then we want to do the same with this one. So let's first sort of move this a little bit this way. So when it comes to modular work, this is actually all very critical. Also very annoying, but very critical. Because when these are snapped together in Unity, so I can just move it over there and then snap it like that. So these are very easy to sort of snap together, which is what we want them to be. So I've got that. Now I will have to do all of that again on this side. So I have to figure out exactly how to do that on a point side. So let's look at that, and then we can sort of start cleaning some of this up. Now the thing is also, because we're going to have a fence on most of these, I can actually sort of place this wherever I want, as long as it's inside there. So even if it's like not in line, that might actually look good. And also I want to make select chicanes, I think is how you say them. So I'm going to make the chicanes and things like that on certain corners. So that's going to be all lovely. So let's put that on that. Now if I want to, I think I can do this. No, that's move. Can I position this -1, 0? Wait, hold shift. Yes, that doesn't seem right. But that could be also, well, just seeing if there's any way that I can lock that into a very, oh, here we go. 4. This is looking promising. -11. Excellent. 0. There we go. Solved all our problems. I've actually never needed it because I always do things by sight, which is maybe sometimes not the best way to do it. So can do it this way if you want to. So yeah, local, which is positioned to probably the vertex, I guess, or global, which is what we want. So we want that to be 0, -17, and 4. This one also 0, -10, which is good. 3, -3, -10, and 0. Now all of these are going to be a little bit off, so I'm going to put them to 0 as well, and them to 0. So that's a good base. Now, now that these are in the exact right spot for the loop, we can sort of tweak some of these to be where we want them to be. So let's snap it to that location. And for this one, we can actually do the following. So G. Oh, I don't know what that one. Why? What? It was doing so well before. I had it. Ugh. Okay. Um. All right. Manual it is. So, this that's up and down, which we don't want. We do want that at 4. We do want that at minus 11. As you can see, just those two have been moved, which is what we want. Um, so yeah, once again, we're being very, very, very precise here, but unfortunately, we kind of need to. That's minus 11. Nope. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this up here. So let's make it 4 or 5. I think 5 is good. The numbers more than anything else. Excellent. Now, these ones don't actually matter. They just need to look good. So I'll make sure they overlap a little bit and make sure they sort of line up overall. And then we're good to go. So about there. About there. So yeah. Now what would you call it? The precision will become a lot more important or a lot more easily understood once we get into Unity itself. So you can see how like snapping these together will make a huge difference in what we're doing. So this is not correct. So we want that to be 3, I think. Nope. 3.5. Nope. 3.05. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, no, that's it. Good. Yeah, that'll do for now. So you can see the point, which is what I'm trying to go for here. Okay, so that's on the, nope. Make sure that that point is where we want it to be, which it is. That's good. Are those points? Yep. And is that 5? Nearly. No. Now I just want everything to be right. So give me a second as I clean this up just a little bit more. Then we'll be good to go. Other things I want to do this session, I want to make some different curves. So like a 30-degree and a 45-degree and a 60-degree. So I can sort of mix and match there. Now this one looks like it needs a bit of work. So let's go 4 and minus 17. Yep. Minus 17. 5 and 4. Excellent. Precision. All right. So the fence is good. These are good. Now the pivot for these ones are less important now because they're very like they're precision, and I'll be connecting everything purely with the V button um, in Unity. So don't have to worry about the pivot point as much. But that's so yeah, as you can see, using global when you remember it's there, super useful. So we can do these up here as well. 310. Make sure that's 3.5. The Z depth is not what we want to touch because that's the height of these. So if we touch those, that would go up and down, which is what we don't want. But we do want these to be precise, like so. Okay. Now we should actually make sure these are, yeah, let's be very accurate. And the last one. And then we're good to go again. Okay, so get those ones. Those are fine. Let's double check. Yep. These ones, not so much, but easily fixed. Good. That's good. That's not. Okay. So as it stands, all of these are precisely placed, which is kind of what we want, which is fantastic. All right. Cool. So what we want is a few more curves, I think. Now, if I wanted to, what I probably will do, I'll leave it there, and then we'll put these back in like local positions a bit later. Once again, less important. Um, Also, actually, let's break these up. Now, because there's no gradient on the road, and maybe we could do a cool trim sheet thing there, because, yeah, I'm going to do that because that'd be cool. So I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to separate that as the road. Now, as you can see, there's two fences. They will look exactly the same, so we don't need two. So I'm just going to use one. And then flip that. Yeah, because I'm going to do that. And same with this one, actually. So I'm going to get rid of kind of all of the ones on the left. So, faces. And once again, this is a situation where, like, because it's all connected, I've made more polygons than there needs to be. So I'm actually going to separate the fence barrier, if you will. So that is now the road finish line. And this is now the road fence. Merge at last. And this one I'm going to put all the way up there. So once again, saved a couple of polygons, but if you have a whole racetrack, those couple of polygons turn into a lot more. Now, do we want to do anything with this? And once again, this is just like, how do we optimize using assets? So we use less assets. Now, when it comes to prefab, so say for example, I use one fence and then I just use that a lot. What that also means, and this is very important with Mona, because file size is a very important thing. If I load one fence and then I use it 1,000 times, the size of that model is the one fence. And like the application of it in the space is a lot less. The polygons, of course, is more. But once again, because it's a game engine that's using like static batching and all these other things, if you're using that correctly, it'll actually do it a lot quicker or create that as one model. So there's a lot of different sides of the game development side of things that allow you to save some time and energy. So what I'd like to do, I think, is what do we want to do? So I'm gonna I'm gonna create two fences. And then texture them in slightly different ways. So there's maybe sort of 6. So let's name this and get this all updated. So barrier, corner short. I like that. So that's road. Barrier, corner short. In text. And like not naming them when you have 5 assets is fine. Not naming them when you have 1,000, not so much. That's a fence. That's a barrier. It's also straight. Okay, so that's much better. Road. Okay. So let's make a couple of these. Another thing you can do, like if you want to make sure these are all sort of like the right width. So once again, a lot of this thing we're gonna have to match at the end. And I've tried this before. It's really hard. So if you can, try to make sure that if you're going to scale some of these, and you will need to, and that's fine, but generally speaking, you want to try and keep everything matched together. So that's why we've got like a 1 here, so we can sort of use the correct percentages and stuff like that. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So let's go. Yeah, barrier straight short 1. Duplicate. Right mouse click so it doesn't go anywhere. And go 2. And that way, select 3 to go polygon. Let's change the color. Let's just make it Pink seems to be the best way to go. And let's just do one more big one as well. Now notice if I press Shift D over here, nothing happens, but if I press Shift when I'm here, it will duplicate. So with Blender, wherever your mouse is, which window it is, where it is, will change the hotkeys, which is great if you track all of your hotkeys. It is terrible if you do not, and you're wondering why something is not working. Another reason that happens is if the object mode is in edit mode. So a simple example of that would be if you want to apply a modifier. So let's say I do mirror, like you've got that. I can apply it in object mode, but I cannot apply it in edit mode. So there are a lot of things that sort of are dependent on the mode that it's in. Now notice because we sort of merged some of these, the UV map is actually now incorrect. So for that, I'm just going to make this correct again. So project from view, scale SX that way, SY that way, and let's make it blue. Sure. All right. So I've got two of those, and I've got two of those, and that'll be a good start for what we're going to do. Let's once again just cleaning up some of this so that works. Then we have that. All right. So we should be good to go. So let's look into some other things that we want. So we can do a hairpin pretty easily with just two of those curves. We want kind of smaller curves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if we get rid of we're going to get sort of like half of that one. So let's go do that. And instead of short, let's do 90. What is that? Oh, it's a duplicate. Okay. Now I want this one to actually get 45. There's the problem. Sorted. So once again, going up, and we want to delete that. Pieces. So that'll be good. And we also want to do that with these two as well. So I'm just going to duplicate those. $45. 1. 5, 0, 1. 90 and 90. This one and this one. Once again, just holding holding Control to multi-select. Shift selects from top to the bottom. So Shift, Control, and Alt are your best friends forever. Okay, so we have 45. Um, Now, I will say that this edge here might not be as accurate as we would want it to be. Um, so we'll see how we go. I may need to fix that eventually, but maybe not. Okay, so I can sort of do 45 and 90. The only other ones I would want is maybe 30 and 60. Um, but for today, I think we'll just stop there and move on. So what else do we need? It. Let's do these. Um, and stoplight and this thing. Okay, lots of things we need to do. All right, I want to do that like a chicane thing. Because that'd be cool. So for this one, what I'm going to do is grab the 90. I'm going to duplicate that to save a bit of time. And call this chicane. I don't know if this thing is called the chicane, but I'm gonna call it that because I know what that means, and that's all that matters. Okay. Um. I go Control I, hide, just so I can do this. Now what we want is we actually want the chicane to go inside a bit. So I'm going to use Control R to put an edge loop in. Left click, and then move it in like so. To this is on. So I'm going to undo that and turn that off. Try it again. Control R, add loop, left click, so you can sort of put it where you want to, and let's say about there would be cool. Yep. Um, and let's actually do one on the outside as well, and then we'll split that up to there. So we'll get rid of all these, and we'll have this. Now, what I want to do is I actually want that middle bit to be raised. So once again, Control to select that. Let's go E, right mouse click, scale, just a bit, and then move that like so. Now I actually want it to be that way because I think that's cool. And that's all that matters. So I'm using this as the sort of straight line. And that's kind of it. Like I like that. And then what we want to do is move that up. Now I want this to be the same height. So I'm going to wait a moment and just do it on this one. So once again, E, right mouse click, scale, bigger. Interesting. Let's see how it goes. Sort of there. I want. And then I'm just going to manually edit these ones. Actually, what we could do, scale. Now notice how those aren't moving at all, and that's because I've got this one. We want that on the median point, so it sort of does that. And of course, I could do it manual as well. So it just depends on how you want to go about it. Okay, cool. Now the question, I could just move those up, but I kind of want a little bit more detail in there. So one way to do that would be, let me try something. Could do it that way, but I want that to be cut as well. So what I'm going to do instead is grab these, and then I'm going to use inset. That is much better. Also aligned. So when we move that up just a little, good. And then we also want those to be moved slightly up as well. So that one and that one. Now on that one, because I've got two here, once again, I'm like on vertex mode, which is 1, 2, 3. So the one, that one. So for the first one, I'm going control. So it selects from there to there. Then I'm holding shift, only shift, to click on this one, and then holding shift and control to sort of do the line as well. So shift will combine what you're doing, and control will connect what you're doing, and sort of putting the two together, you can do cool things. Is the technical approach. There we go. Okay. So that looks great. The catch is we want this to look like that, which is a whole thing. So for this one, let's just project from view. So we have that. Let's rotate it a bit so we can sort of see. Once again, I'm using control to snap it because I want to go 45. And then I want to, once again, using control to snap these. And then I'm going to use align Y. Align Y. Y. Align Y. And notice the first one I have to turn off control and then put it back on to select all of them and align Y. And then I can just move this one down, and then it's all aligned, which is what we want. And it will be more aligned in a second. So I've got that. And same with these. Now, once again, I'm using Alt sort of by default because I'll just try that. And sometimes it'll work. So that one works. So let's start there. Align Y, align Y, align Y, and not align Y. So for that one, I'm just going to do that to, yeah. So I've made it a little more difficult for myself, but that's fine because if there's a will, there's a way. Okay. All right. Now, once again, I can just go align, hold Alt, select that for the edge. And then this time, once again, instead of going align X, I'm just going to go Shift R because that repeats what you last did, which is super useful. And super quick. Now this gets a little fuzzy, but I'm just gonna, yeah, just put it there. Doesn't matter too much because this is all probably going to be the same in the end anyway. As in, all of this is going to be kind of red. It doesn't matter too much. So what we're doing, basically, is that. Now you'll get things like this when things are curved and you've got a straight line. You can kind of clean that up, and we'll get to that in a second, or attempt to get that in a second. But once again, align X. Shift R. So as you can see, yeah, hotkeys will save you a lot of time. So kind of the sooner you learn them, the better. They are annoying. But the thing is also like I've also been using the hotkeys for long enough that I actually don't know how to do half of the actions without hotkeys. Um, be happy in a way. So Blender comes from a place, let's just say a place, where originally, if you didn't know the hotkeys, you couldn't really do anything. Like the original user interface for um, Blender was not great. So the start time for a lot of what would you call it? A lot of what they did was not ideal. Um, Now, one approach, we want that sort of shade. Like I did a shade there on purpose because I wanted um, this to be across the whole thing. Um, so I can't flatten it because that would save some of the what would you call it? The problem with the blending. But in this case, I want that shade. So I'm gonna have to basically work that in somehow. So let's see how we do it. So let's start with the small one first. We want the top and bottom to be sort of aligned. So I got that. We kind of want the middle to be in the middle. So that's lined up. We can scale it a little bit bigger. Don't need to, but gonna. All right. So at this point, you have to figure out like exactly how can we tweak the edge so it looks a bit straighter. Now, one approach. So this one, not that one, line X. So this one, what we could do, try this approach. So that way, if we do it line by line, then we can create the model to be lined how we want it to be. The catch is we will have to cut some of this up. Now, if this went all the way across the bottom, then we could just keep going. But we haven't. So let's just take it as far as we can and then fix it manually. The thing is, with this one, we don't have to worry about the snapping. So we can sort of take a couple of shortcuts with these to make it look as we want. So let's grab this one and go split selection. And technically, we can kind of just put it wherever we want. So let's just put it there. Using control to unselect things, so that's quite useful. And we kind of want that to be all the same color, so that's actually fine. So we actually want that. And then let's do the same here. But that one's going to be white. Like so. Now that's already at the top, so what we're going to do is modify some of these so it looks how we want it to. Now I think there is. I don't know where. I think it's one of these, but it is possible to edit it and not edit the UV. Um, but to be honest, I don't use it very often. But I believe it's possible. I'll say that much. That looks great. Now I have to do all of that again with the big one, which is going to take a little bit more work. And the thing is, also, we might need to add purely because we want the lines to be sort of the same. So let's do that. Once again, just using Control R, and then right mouse click to sort of just snap it in the middle. So left and then right. So once again, Control R turns up, left to make it thing, and right mouse click, or R right mouse. No, that doesn't work. So yeah, left mouse click and then right, left right, if you want to go that way. Now just to make it cool, let's show the road corner so we know what that's actually going towards, just to make it cool. Once again, not too worried about how close it is to a sphere or a circle, I mean. Um, all right. Now let's worry about this because we can do it once we get to this part. So once again, now just in case those edits kind of made it a bit weird, I'm gonna do it again to be sure. To be sure, rotate with snap. Put that there. And once again, we're gonna what? Yeah. What? I don't like that at all. I think I'm not too sure. Um, so Blender does have all these other ones, straight necks and stuff, but I can never really make it work. There are tools that sort of do this for you, which is actually really quite good. Um, but I haven't used them either. Like add-ons, like something you buy. Um, but not too sure why is it doing that. Now notice, in this case, it's which one is it? So I think it's this one. No, not that one. This one? Hmm. There is a button, I think, where you can change how you select things. Not too sure which one. Once again, very rarely use it. So basically, you have to surround the entire asset that you're trying to unselect. So if I do up here, it's not going to do it, but if I go there, it is. So that useful for that kind of thing. That's why, because it's the shortest point, and going straight across that line. That's what it is. All right. Okay. And once again, going across. So X. If you haven't noticed, I've stopped using the shortcut keys. I think you're getting used, bored or annoyed with them by now. I've probably also used a lot of the same hotkeys a lot this session. So if you don't know them by now, maybe you're not gonna. So we've got that. Now we actually don't need to worry about the up and down so much. That said, I'm just going to make it a little bit cleaner, like so. And then we want to make it as big as the scale of it. So we've got that sort of shade there. What we want. And for the long one, let's just go from the start. Works. Just lining them all up, I think. Then when it runs out, split and start again. Now that said, I'm actually going to move it up because otherwise it's going to be a bit messy. Just to figure out what's going on. I'm also going to start using all of them across just to sort of get them across together. So once again, using Control to unselect something. Always find the quickest way to do something. All right, and split that. Move that up here again. Okay. And then we can just move all of these down, overlapping. Like so. So we get close. And then all we need to do is clean up these lines, which is pretty easy at this point. So how are we going to do that? Let's move these ones up a bit, down a bit, up a bit, down a bit. I can go down a lot. Looks mostly good. Now something like that you might want to clean up. So for that I'm going to select these ones. Um, and then yeah, you can see sort of where or why that's happening. So if I move that across a bit, it'll just be neater. Good. Mm, this way a bit, and then this way a bit. Okay, that worked. Now these two look fine, but I think I do actually want that one, these ones, uh, to be more like that. So I'm gonna actually use this fourth one. So usually your vertex, line, polygon, or face, if you will. This one is island. So I'm just gonna move that up there, and notice how it selects the whole thing. So what I'm gonna do here now is I think what do I want to do? Scale X. Yeah, no, that's what we want. Um, of all of it. Now, because this is going to be halved, these two will actually fit on the end. So I'm actually going to put them on the end straight up. So for that, Alt click. So just the edge there, and then go stitch. And then it'll go back on, stitch. And then when we do that, it's kind of what we wanted to do. Maybe that. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Now the question is, do we actually need that many curves? Maybe not. Let's have a look. So that I'm using Alt and Shift together. So the Shift multi-selects and Alt is the loop. Then go dissolve edges, and then we've got that, which I actually think aligns better. So I'm actually going to leave that as is, and then we've got to that. Now for that one, I'm actually going to, yeah, I am going to split them. Separate selection. Um, let's do this here. So internal, that, and external. Get rid of that. All right. Um, that's good for now, I think. Um, yeah, I think eventually I'll probably add like a bunch of more of these. But I'm sure you get the idea. The other thing is also I might want to use a path to sort of create that, but I don't know if I can sort of texture that quickly as well, because that'd be really useful. But I don't think that works. Um, so with that, all right. How are we going for time? We've got 20 minutes or so. Although I'm quite enjoying this, I'd be tempted to go a bit longer, but we'll see. So let's. Hmm. I have an idea for the road. I kind of want to do it. So I can get rid of those two now. The roads, we want all three. So the thing is, what I'd like to do is go to edit mode. Why can I not edit? There we go. I'm going to use Control R, something in the middle, because what I'd like to do is get a bit of gradient in these colors. So once again, this is going to be a sort of a So I'm going to move from the dot and start using some of these for the road. So for once again, I'm going to use project from view. I'm going to grab those and then split. Rotate them using control to sort of get the 45-degree. That's what we want to do. Let's align Y to line those up. And we also kind of want to align X. Right. We also want these to be like aligned. So let's put them on top of each other, like so. And I'm going to do the same with the other ones as well. As much as we can have the rainbow road, that'd be kind of cool. Okay, that's kind of cool. Actually, do we want a rainbow road? Kind of do. Anyway. Once again, adding the loop there. Right mouse click to put it in the center. This will be a little easier. And these are the ones we want. Top view. Just so we sort of see what we're doing. So project from view. And this is also that way. Then we want to grab the top. Split selection. Once again, if you're splitting, make sure to move it straight afterwards, because then it'll split. Otherwise, so if I do this, it's unsplit. If I go do that, and then split it, and then not move it, it doesn't actually split, which is a bit of a weird thing. So yeah, make sure to move it, and then you can go right mouse click, and then no. So you actually really have to move it away. Interesting. Anyway, let's rotate that. There. Same level. that is actually pretty cool. All right. And the last one, the straight short, which is this one. Once again, Control R for split. Project view. Rotate. Change to split. Selection G. Rotate with R. Put it over the top. And then we can select all three. Grab it all. Now, when you grab all of this will be grabbed, and then you select over here and just grab the ones you want. So we don't move these ones, because we don't want to do that. And then let's just kind of, I don't know, put these together a bit. Doesn't really matter too much. Align white. Align white. I like the rainbow. And once again, like SX here, we'll do it there. SX here, we'll do it here. So you'll notice that like this part, I didn't rotate it correctly. These parts I did. So let's just move it down here. Actually, let's do it up there so it's obvious to see. And then we can just grab these ones. and rotate them like so. Yep. Again, grab the ones we want. What's that one too? And then moving down here. We have our road, which looks much nicer now. So let's just hide these and make sure that they all look good. Yeah, perfect. All right. So, we have our chicane. Ooh, we don't have our... Oh, we didn't do that one. Let's do that. Ah, split, right mouse click. Project from view. Rotate. So that one's straight. Now I'm hoping the correct one. Now, to make it all line up, we actually want to make sure that, like, it's done properly. So, like that, you can sort of see that they're a bit different. So let's grab these ones and then Control L. Sort of see where they're at. And then we can just go Z, Y. I've got that. And just to be 100% sure, let's go line Y. Yep. Line Y. And then we're good. Done. All right. So we have our road. 45s and 90s. Okay. So yeah, I think we'll call it there. Like you can sort of start seeing the potential for all of the things we can build. There's a lot. Now, I could do the numbers. I could do the lights. How would I do the lights? I got a time, so let's do some light. Yeah, let's do some lights. Okay. So for lights, what do we want? We want sort of like a pole over the top, maybe. And for that, let's put in. Let's go back to layout so we can sort of fully see what we're doing here. Okay. So we need to add a curve. Bezier. Now it's just going to place one. So it's not. I don't exactly know why they do this. But what I'm going to do is rotate it. Once again, hold Control to snap. And up the top left, you can sort of see how far it is, like 70, 80, 90. There. So that's what we want. Go X-ray so we can see it. Go to Tab. And then we can start doing this stuff. It's kind of what we want to do. So when you're editing a curve, that's the word we want. You can click on the dots, and then once again use the normal sort of G, R, those sort of ones. Um, so depending on what you're sort of doing. Um, and the best way to do it, I find, is like select the end that has the thing that you want, like here. Let's move that down a bit. And then we actually just want to go E, and that's how you sort of add the spots that you want. So let's sort of, not too important, but we want sort of 4 by 4, 3 by 3. Yep, that's better. Do we want it curved or do we want it straight? So if you right mouse click on this, you can pull up all these sort of things. So handle type, let's put vector. Let's put automatic. Let's put free. Because I'd actually just like sort of straight ends there. So let's just do that. And once again, we can go E. Now I have to make sure we'll find out uh, where the end is. Maybe over there somewhere. Not too worried about that. E again. 3 by 3, which is there, and then down to there. Now that's a Bezier, but what we can do with this, and I always get this mixed up, and these are very important. Once again, you're building for a game, so you need the polygons to be where you want them to be. In this case, we're designing for a low poly game, so we actually want it to look lower than it could be, actually, because that's the style we're going for. Now, in this case, we need geometry, and I believe it is depth. Yeah. um, maybe a bit smaller. Yeah, I think 5 looks good. Resolution is kind of how many lines. So if it's 0, that'll be like a 4, which is a bit too low. We kind of want maybe a 6. Yeah, I think a 6 looks good. And like, there we go. That's kind of what we want. And the thing is, actually, with a lot of these things, we have to decide if we actually want smooth or we want faceted. So if you look at that, it looks kind of nice, but it doesn't look as low res as we kind of want it to for the style. So in that case, I think we need to go to shade flat. And therefore we get these sort of things, which is kind of what we want. This one, I think, shade flat. This, maybe? Yep, shade flat. And that kind of just looks how we want it to, really. So choosing the style and I think the best word for a lot of these things is owning it. If it's good or bad, own it. If it's a strength, own it. If it's a weakness, own it. Like use that to its full advantage and see where it gets you. Because you can sort of get, especially in this kind of meme culture, weird place that I'm not the biggest fan of, I think. I come from old school where everything was high quality and took forever to do, but now, like, memes kind of roll a thing. That's fine. Nothing wrong with it. Just, yeah. uh, but that said, you can really do some amazing stuff with and honestly get some really interesting, honest to goodness results as long as you own whatever it is you're doing. So, own it. And I'm not saying meme culture is bad by any means. Um, like it's like picking any sort of art style. Some you like and some you won't. Um, so I like. So I'm a big Arcane fan, for example. If you've ever seen that, and if you haven't, you should because it's amazing. Enter the Spider-Verse, all that sort of stuff. So it's kind of high quality, hand painted, very stylized approaches to art, and I really like that sort of stuff. Right now, back to the point. So here, for example, some of these you got fill caps, like so, but we don't actually want that because you will never see under it. We're going to add some stuff at the end there, but we can do that in a second. So that's great. That's what we want. So we're going to right mouse click and then convert to mesh. All the curvy stuff goes away. And let's add some stuff. Now notice, and this is quite interesting. Here's good. Here's good. There's only one edge. There's one edge there, which is also good. But up here, there's tons. So I'm actually going to go there and get rid of them because these do not make any difference to the shape, but is costing polygons, which we do not want. So once again, delete and dissolve edges. Much smoother, much nicer. Now, once again, we kind of want this to have the same material. So go to the material tab. This one, go low poly. That looks great, but we're not going to do that. Okay. And let's do another gradient, probably with the gray, but maybe a lighter one. So let's grab all of it. That's X-ray, so that's what we need. And that's how we want. We don't want that because we just want project from view. And then squish SX. And let's put it on maybe this one. Scale up. There we go. So they have that sort of gradient there, which is great. But let's add a little bit more detail to this. I think we can do that. Now, once again, on the numpad, not if you don't have a numpad, you can't do this. I don't know where it is. I think it's actually view frame selected. There we go. Numpad not. So you could probably change this. But I have a numpad, so I'm just going to use that. And Control R for a loop, and put that sort of down. Now notice up the top there we have. Well, actually, I'm just gonna snap it anywhere, and then use this to tell me where I want to put it. So let's go to 0.95, I think. Yeah, no, that's good. And same over here. Doesn't matter where it goes because we're going to do this 0.95. Nope. Minus 0.95. Done. Right, and then we can grab both ends and extrude the normal. So, that looks good. Good. I might just grab some of these and move them out a little bit so there's no overlap on the fence, the barrier, sorry. I also want those to be different color, I think. So, once again, just go project from view. Got that. Now, I kind of want to do some cool stuff with that. So I could do it one color each, but that's boring. I'm going to do this. Make it a bit different because we can. Now notice when we're selecting them, I don't think, well, when we select these, it doesn't select these. So sometimes you might actually want to select both of these, if that makes sense. So if you click on the UV sync selection, and then do that again, it will select all the things sort of correctly. Want we also want, yeah, these ones. So get that, and that. Just make sure it's what we want them to be. Cool. Split selection. Ah, so down here, it'll tell you that there's an error. It doesn't like that because you can't do that with this selected. So unselect it, and then it'll have kind of what's going on. And then you can do that, and then split. And that's what we want. So let's put these over here together. And therefore, we have our little thing that doesn't really work as well as I would like it to because of that. So let's just put that in there. Nope, that needs to be white. That one. That looks good. And does the other one? That looks good. Okay. Cool. And the last thing we're going to finish with is kind of like the lights at the top here. And then we're good to go. But the thing is, we do want to do an animation of the red going to the green. So for that, let's have a look. We need a box. Scale. I kind of want it to be big. Do we want it down or in front? Probably down. Any races in the in the chat? Um, so it's either a long one or a short one 2 times. So there and there. Maybe there and there. Okay, cool. A little bit wider. And yeah, 2 times. I think that works. So I'm going to, because I've scaled it and it's done some things, but I want very specific dimensions. So I'm going to use in object mode, Control A, which will do all transforms. So I've got 1, 1, 1. And then we can be very specific on our yeah, that's good. And then if we put it over here and over here, that's perfect. Excellent. Put that a little higher. Okay. Now, what we want to do is do this. So we want a few lights. So let's add that. 4, 5. Looks more like a square. That one, because I would like to inset this. Good. I think. I'm actually going to grab these ones a little bit because I think I want those to be in a little bit, like so. Right. Now, once again, I'm actually going to separate this to different selection because I'm actually going to get rid of these ones. Once again, just saving polygons that we will never use. So delete, dissolve edges, E, Y, E, Y. Put that in a bit, and then we can grab all of these. All right. So this object, we just need to be dark. So it's pretty easy. This is all messy because we've also done the UV. So if I'm going to go smart UV, just square that up, scale it down. Now, actually, we want a bit of a gradient on that, so I'm actually going to do it differently. And project from view, scale that way, scale it that way, and go maybe black. Actually, I think a color might be nice. Let's do red. Now, notice how the color is in there. That's because we haven't given it a material, like so. Also need the material. Okay, so we have, once again, our front. We want to project from view, and then we actually want these to snap off. So I'm just going to put them down here. Well, actually, no, I'm going to overlap them. Now with this, I don't know if I don't know if the math of this works, but I do it anyway, where I just put it wherever I want, align everything, and assume that the median is what we actually want. I do not know if this is correct. Anyone who's better at math is allowed to have a shot at me on the grounds that I don't know. Okay. Let's go a bit bigger. Yeah, I think that's what we want. Excellent. So what we're going to do for this as an animation is kind of show and hide the object that we create. So we have one that's red, and we just need to duplicate that. Let's get some naming involved. White box, white red, white bar. That works. So we need to duplicate the red. Rename this one green, and then just move that across. Like, now the thing is, we do have to check and make sure that it lines up exactly, actually. So it looks like it's a little off. Green needs to go left a little bit. Perfect. Okay. So basically what we're going to do is probably in Unity, because this is a very simple animation, is show the red, and then show the green. And the thing is, what I'd like to do is create an emissive light on that, so it has that sort of bloom effect, and I think that'd be really cool. And cool is the key word for pretty much anything that I will ever make. So there's that. The last thing I think we need, because we're gonna have two of these, so I'm gonna put these in a No. Let's just put them in that collider, I guess. There we go. Probably the box. We want to grab, edit. Nope. Yeah. Kind of just want to grab two of these, one of these, two of these. Screwed that up. So, now the question is, I don't know if I want that to be. Well, I kind of do. And I'm going to get rid of this one because we don't need it. There's one at the top as well. Don't need it because we purely want that. Now to make this correct location. Not really in the center. So I'm going to grab all of them. Do we have two? Do we have three? Two. And then let's just throw them up here somewhere better. So maybe black. And notice how they're flat. I don't want them to be. I want a little bit of gradient. So let's project from view. Copy over the top. Let's make it dark. Now in this case, I'm not going to make all of it because that would not be not really what we want, but maybe to there. Cool. All right, so we have one there and one there. But as I'm going to animate it in Unity, we can animate one of them and have the same rule. So I'll save some time and just put it on there. And that'll do for now. Okay, so that's a good 2 hours of work. And basically, we could 100% make a track with this. A simple one, but we could definitely track. I wouldn't mind some bigger curves as well. And I kind of want to jump. I really want to jump. Let's do a quick jump. Let's do a quick jump. 2.5 hours. As I said, I'm really enjoying this. It's fun. So we need a straight short. Yeah. Now the catch with if we're doing cars as VRMs, so we're not getting to vehicles or anything like that anytime soon. So what we want is kind of like a very what do you call it? Slight ramp because the VRM will not tilt. So if you had can I see here? Yeah. So if you had where we go? If you had a slant like that, but the car is going to be flat, like it wouldn't look very good. But what I do want to do is have it so you have like a long slant, so it might not curve as much as you would like. Unless we use spring bones to make it wobble when you move forward. Yeah, No, because that would happen all the time, and not just when you ramp. Okay, that's not going to work. That's a pity because that would have been cool. Anyway, so let's look at that. So what I'm thinking of doing is basically a really long ramp um, that has a slight thing, but be high enough that cars can go under it, and you would actually have to jump because the inertia is not going to be strong enough as a VRM. So I'm hoping to sort of get it so you can sort of jump across, and might even have to make the road a bit thinner. But that's what I would like to do. So for that, let's move it really far forward. Once again, use snap. Let's go implement and snap on. Interesting. So if you hold down control, it'll snap. But if you have snap on, it'll snap automatically and then you'll turn it off. Didn't know that. Useful to know. Anyway. um, so how big would a long slope, maybe that? Um, and it's got like 2 meters for a car. And that slope's okay. Two meters. How's the car? What does it look like? Oh yeah, that's tons. Reference is great. Okay. So let's give that a shot. And if that sort of doesn't work, then we'll come back to it. What I do want to do though is let's sort of put that there, scale it a bit, move it up a bit, purely because I don't want it to look like that. So GZ down a little bit. Do I want that? I don't think I do actually. Maybe one. Yeah. Cool. Now, the only thing we need to do here is we actually need a ramp. So let's grab all those and press E to go straight down, Z to go straight down. And then we can go Z, Z, S, Z, 0, G, Z to go up. Snap to that. Actually, I'm going to go there. And go 0. And then we should be able to just go merge at center. Excellent. Now to make this cooler, I'm going to do that, which is exactly what we want because I don't want it to go further. I want it to sort of stop there. So let's go at last. At last. And then we can sort of grab those, move them up And then we can recolor these ones to something else. Such as this direction. So project from view, grab all of those. That way, and let's go. Doing like grass. Probably don't want the gradient to be as much actually, so it doesn't have to be high. Oh, kind of want to cut that as well. So let's. I think there's this one is interesting. Where is it? Extrude manifold does that, and it sort of cleans it up for you. And then we can sort of get rid of these, which is what we want. We will have to clean up this one little bit under here. But that's less time than other things. Actually, what it is we have yeah, it's not not as clean as I would like. So I'm gonna not do that and try a different approach. So another tool, and you don't have to do it this way at all. But it's a good one to know is when you select a bunch of vertices, go to the equivalent of knife, and then go to bisect, which is just B. And then just cut it down. That will literally cut all of the polygons that were selected, which is really quite good for sort of precision elements. So that way you can do this. Let's do this. I'm going to get those two, press F. Put an edge in there, then we go F, and then F. Nope, F. Now notice it's trying to do things with the UV, so you're going to have to clean that up, but not so important. That's much better. So let's do object from view. Scale 0. Put it under there. It's going to be dark. Good. And then we kind of need to do these again. Bit of a gradient. Oh no, that's what we want. So that's good. If we wanted to, actually, could this be kind of cool? Do do do. So as you can see from what we've been looking at today, and this is a prime example of being able to sort of do really interesting things with one material. Now we just need to line that up a bit. Yeah, that's what we want. Mona. Oh. In that case, let's kind of make these not green. Let's make them maybe blue as well. Yeah. Jump. Now this one, I'm actually going to smooth that. So for that, I'm going to go shade smooth, but then everything's smooth, which we don't want. So for that one, I'm going to go to the object data properties, go to normals, auto smooth, and then put 30. So that's 30 degrees, so that'll be smooth. Everything else is above 30, so it is not smooth. So that looks a lot better. Excellent. We have our jump. So yeah, plan is have a jump there, and then a jump on the other side, and continue the track, because that'll be fun. All right. So, exactly 2.5 hours, which is perfect. So I'm going to wrap it up there. So today we sort of finished a lot of like basically key elements, quite a few, of a racetrack. If I get time, I will make a few more. Once again, on a few more curves, maybe sort of like a chicane so we can actually do that, and other things to create a cool track for anyone who wants to sort of dive into that. And then next workshop, which is Monday-ish, I think. Now I've heard that's Thanksgiving or something. But that's fine. It's not Thanksgiving here. Japan doesn't do it. So I'll probably jump into the workshop on Monday. And continue taking these assets into Unity and creating some library assets, and then other people can start putting them into their own tracks, and two, building a track as well. So that's the goal for the next workshop. Now that we've sort of got one material and a bunch of assets, so this will be like probably a very small space with a lot of cool stuff and still look pretty good, and even has shading with like road shape and stuff like that. So pretty cool. All right, I'll wrap it up there. Thanks for watching, and have a good day. And for all those who give thanks, congratulations. I don't know how that works. We don't have that in Australia or in Japan. But have a good weekend either way. That's probably the main thing. So have a good weekend. Enjoy the long weekend, and see you in the Discord. Have a nice day.